sketchbooks right now. And this is just a small portion of all the sketchbooks that I'm gonna run through and show you guys today. So let's start off with, of course, thanking absolutely everybody for tuning in last week. You guys are awesome! There was about 500 of you that watched the stream, and that was amazing. So thank you very much. You guys rock. And thanks to that, I took some suggestions and I decided that I was going to make a sketchbook habits lesson. And what is that? Like, what does that mean? How is it like possible to like determine what is a good sketchbook habit versus a bad sketchbook habit? Well, I like to think about it like this. If it helps you grow, it's good. If it keeps you in the same place or it doesn't really help you proceed, it's a bad habit. And even though just putting in the hours is normally really, really good, there is a difference between something that's good and something that's amazing. And something that I learned that was really, really good for me was the sketchbook habits that I'm about to show you. So let me put little Rod away. Boop. I'll put him right there. And we are going to walk through what I think you should be using your sketchbook for. So, first of all, sketchbooks are just books that come in all shapes and sizes. They're from all different brands and they serve all different purposes. They come in different colored papers. They come in different colored and different like size and thickness of paper inside as well. So maybe some materials are better than more, other ones in some of them. So there is a little bit of a difference between, a good quality sketchbook and then just one that's just kind of put together. And these also, like the ones that are all like rinky dinky, still serve a purpose. So don't like throw them away. So let's see. I want to show you all a couple different examples. And I think the ones that I have right here are pretty damn good to start with. So I began my little journey into social media by deciding that I was going to draw for 15 minutes a day every time that I had a break. Every single time that I had any sort of break at work, and I used to work at a t-shirt design company, I would just draw and draw and draw. And I'm trying to find one of the very first ones. This is close enough. It's number 4. So back then, what I used to do a lot is I was trying to get used to the medium of ballpoint pen. So a lot of the drawings that you see sometimes are smudged, sometimes the lines are really dirty, they're very messy. But at that moment in time when I was doing this back in 2016, this seemed incredibly clean to me. This was the cleanest that I had drawn with pen, so I was excited about the possibility of what I could do with it later. And then, I started drawing absolutely everything in pen, just to see if I could. Ends up being that ballpoint pen is a fantastic medium to sketch with. It gives you a very controlled feel, and if you have a very good tactile control, you can do really here. This is the purpose of these guys. Let's find them. Ballpoint pen gives you very, very, very dark lines if you want it, and very, very thin lines if you get used to the tactile response of it. And it doesn't smudge if you're very careful with it. You just have to get used to the actual medium, and it takes a while. So I was tired of pencil because pencil always looked incredibly messy to me, and it never really gave me any satisfaction because I kept on going in, erasing, going in, erasing, going in, erasing, eventually scrapping the whole thing. Just get annoyed. I'd have a messed up, smudged up page in my sketchbook, and then I'd be like wanting to just like burn it. So I decided that I'm just gonna be patient with myself, and even if the drawings didn't come out like I wanted, every single time it didn't come out right, I would just try to fix it in my own special way, which mostly was Post-its and whiteout. And I just decided that I was going to use my sketchbooks for learning. Not necessarily like copying other people's styles, not to create amazing, like meticulously looking sketches. My sketchbook will now and forever be used as a reference tool to learn. So, as I go about showing you guys the process of my sketchbooks, you can see a page like this. I was trying to break down the style that Loish has. So I was trying to break down everything and writing notes to myself constantly and telling me that I was doing good. If I was doing bad, I would just draw kind of like a little bit like a meme of myself or like a little chibi dude. And then I would just tell myself that I was doing good. If I was doing bad or if I was stressed out, I would try to show that emotion within the drawing. And little by little, I started getting a little bit better. And then I was able to actually do some pretty fun stuff very, very quickly within, like the process of doing so. And then we can progress, for example, to this day and age. And I'll show you guys a couple pages of my sketchbook now. And it changed a lot. It's a lot more refined. And I tend to be able to play a lot more with texture, line work, and essentially I can just manipulate the pen to do pretty much anything I want. It has become a better tool for me than pencil has ever been. And thanks to that, I also have an incredibly clean line work when it comes down to just even sketching concepts like these out. These were all the sketches from a Q&A session that I had with the people on Instagram. So if you don't follow me on Instagram yet, come join the Peep Army, and I will make some t-shirts for the Peep Army at some point or another. But as you can see, I used as much of the space as possible without obstructing the concept of something that I thought about before. So this is something that I do a lot. I go back and I analyze sketches that I've done before to try to see mistakes or something that I didn't perceive then and that I perceive now. But first, hold on. I do have a few rules that I like to tell people that they should follow whenever they do their sketchbooks. And you can agree with me or disagree with me. It's okay. But I find that they help me out, and it makes me feel a little bit more motivated when I'm actually drawing in my book. Rule number 1. We do not leave our sketchbooks at home. Sketchbooks at home. That is a no-no. Get used to carrying it everywhere you go. Just if it's something very inconvenient to you, there's some very, very cool options for you. There's little 5. Yeah, I'm gonna put in comparison to a Sharpie so you guys can see it in my hand. 5.5 by 8.5 sketchbooks are fantastic. They're big enough that you can actually open it up and spread and do really cool open spread sheets if you have a lay flat book. And it's small enough that you can just carry around, and have a solid surface. These are my preferred sizes. The ones that I just found out recently though are the Danique sketchbooks. These are 9 by 6, and they are amazing. They hold watercolor really, really good. They hold marker. They don't bleed. These are really, really cool. I highly recommend them. And I'll leave you guys a little discount code in the comments so you guys can check them out too. Not expensive either. Not like, some other brands. Oh, and you can put your art on them too. Let's see. The other option that you have are little, little tiny sketchbooks. And these are 3.5 by 5.5. And the awesomeness of these, for example, I have a sketch wallet. And in right now, I just ran out of my other sketch wallet books, so I just put a different 3.3 by 5.5 book that I just wanted to try out because I found them at the local store. So I'll let you guys know how that goes later. But this comes with me everywhere I go. Absolutely everywhere. Anytime that I have an idea or a concept, I just write it down. If I see a person that's really, really interesting, I just draw them incredibly quick. And anything that I take and I put on a post-it or I just draw, I tend to put them in these books as well, just to be able to maintain that, like, that track of your progression. And it comes really, really in handy. It helps you. It helps you actually take advantage of most of the time that you really miss out on in any given day. And whenever you're just bored, you can always just practice some of your foundational skills. Just practice some anatomy, practice repeating, go for muscle memory. If you feel like drawing something cute, draw something cute. It's just whatever you feel like. You should just get used to trying to document that or try to capture that in your drawings. I really, really, really try to always capture emotion whenever it comes down to anything that I'm doing. And then, for example, this was a great, comic that I put together. Boom, boom, boom. Oh, gotta head back to work. Keep it at it, Rodgon. Ooh, okay, Jonathan K. Okay, let's do some comments right now because there's a few of them. Funny Corn Swag 487. What's up, dude? Dragons on Stilts. Howdy. How are you? I'm doing pretty good. About to do a lot better because I'm having a lot of fun talking with you guys. Hey, everybody. Victor Tio Docio, Brazil. Got to head back to work. Keep at it, everyone. Woo, what's up, man? Have fun at work, and this will be here when you get off. So, okay. So going back to this, during this time that I was having like incredibly like bad time with like doctors and stuff, it helped me a lot to be able to put that emotion into drawings. And it was just super rough. This never really meant to be like anything significant when it comes down to like finishing a final comic or anything. But it's just something that I personally enjoyed doing so, and I think it helped me a lot in understanding how someone could possibly feel when they're going through pain. So if you're going through something and you want to be able to draw that later, maybe try drawing it while you're feeling it, and you'll capture that in a little bit, in like some way or another. All right. So rule number 2: we do not rip pages out of our books. Not because you hate them. If you have like an emergency and you have to take them out, maybe, but do not rip it out because you don't like it. That is a part of the process. You need to be able to look back at your drawings and understand that you weren't doing that great so that you can proceed and you cannot make the same mistakes. Without the bad drawings in your sketchbooks and with you telling yourself, like that they were bad, you're going to keep making that same mistake until you tell your brain that you're not supposed to do that. So, number 2, don't get frustrated and give up on your sketchbook. Don't get frustrated and rip out a page or like crumble it or scratch on it. Just don't damage your sketchbook. It's literally like a showing you your progression, and when you look back at it later on, it's gonna be really, really, really cool to be able to do that. Number 3, we will learn new things with our sketchbook. Number 3 is very important. And this is what differentiates everybody that just fills sketchbooks nonstop with the same thing, and then you have the people that use their sketchbooks to learn. If you want to learn how to be able to, take a little book with just empty paper and make that into a fantastic learning tool, it's very simple. You got to identify what you're bad at. And since we never like to draw what we're bad at, we have to kind of challenge our brain in order to be able to do so. So, what I like to do is, for example, I am horrible at perspective. Absolutely horrendous at perspective. I am very good at faking the perspective, but I'm not that great. So, this last year, I have been strictly studying anatomy and perspective. I have not focused so much on drawing my own characters. I haven't focused so much on drawing anything really super fun that I think of, because I thought that I needed to be able to master these elements before I could proceed and teach them to all of you. So that is something that I took on, and I think I've gotten really, 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 really good at in a very, very short amount of time. And that is the same thing that, that's the same growth that you can see, even in a person that's a little more advanced than some. You can still see a lot of growth, and you can see a lot of maturity in your art if you focus on learning. So, what would you focusing on learning kind of entail? All right, well, let's just sketch something real fast. Let's sketch a face, just really fast. Cartoon. We have little cartoon dude, right? He's gonna have a little poke. So, as we go and we draw our drawings, I like to always, especially if I'm really, really focusing on something, I like to put in my head what I'm supposed to learn in this page. If this page was to learn how to make really bushy eyebrows, I would write it down, and then when it came down to my drawing, I'd be like, all right, okay, so we're gonna play with bushy eyebrows. So let's really see how we can get away with bushy eyebrows. Let's push that. And if it doesn't look right, that's fine. That's really good. Like, that's fine too. But let's say that we have super bushy eyebrows. And let's say that we just went overboard and we just did like 2 eyebrows instead of eyes. Let's just say we did that. Let me show a little bit of the eye underneath. And then you have like a pretty interesting character, right? But now let's say that you just didn't like this sketch. And you were like, maybe, man, you don't have pencil, right? So what you do is you're going to trick your brain into understanding your frustration. You're going to literally point out things like too round. And maybe you wanted like a pointier nose. So too round. And then try to correct it on the spot, even if it's just drawing over your drawing. Get that muscle memory in by correcting your drawing and telling your brain by writing down what is wrong, so that the next time that you draw it, you're going to actually remember that you did that. You're going to be, okay, all right, we have the face, but last time I drew it too round, so this time around, maybe have it as a hook. There you go. Ooh, okay, cool. That was a little better, but maybe it still doesn't look right. Maybe I just wanted it super pointy. So I'll make sure. More pointy. And then correct it on the spot. Make it nice and pointy. Make it so you can see the change. And then just try to draw it again. Even if it's a small scale, even if it's just an empty space that you have in your book, just try to fix it. Even if it's really rough, this is you training your brain to understanding your thoughts. When you tell it that it did something wrong, it's going to think it did something wrong. if you don't tell it something went wrong, you're still gonna get that euphoria from just drawing because you really love drawing, and it's going to kind of keep you at that same level. You're not gonna think twice about making the same mistake over and over and over again. So that's just a quick example of something that you could do to be able to focus your attention to something specific on each page. Other things that I like to do, and I think that everybody should have, are a few basic tools. Now, this is going to be different for everybody, but for the most part, I think everybody should have a tool that they are incredibly comfortable with. In this case, for me, it's mostly ballpoint pens. So I have a bunch of different ballpoint pens, mostly big ones. Big ones are they're cheap, they're good, and they don't smudge. And the blue ones are my favorite. The blue medium point Bics. You can get a whole box for like $2. It's super cheap. Fantastic pens to sketch with. Now, the other thing that I do like to draw with sometimes, whenever I really want to get a lot of detail into something or finish something a little bit cleaner, is just a mechanical pencil. Nothing special to it, just a 0.5 mechanical pencil tends to be my favorite tool for that. And other than that, for actual sketching, I carry some of these. The dual core colored ones. These are just generic ones from Office Depot. But again, it provides you really, really quick. Here, the reason that I like these is because you can use one side to sketch if you still draw pretty heavily with your hand. It's very easy for you to get any line work really quickly, and very, very, very fun shading can be done as well really, really quickly. Oh yeah, I'm developing a different way to draw the faces too. So yeah, this is a little preview, I guess. But having pencils like this are really fun because now I can just go in with the blue and then accent different things of it that I want to stand out. It works really nicely, for example, with the thing that I was talking about before, where you want to make the corrections right on top. Let's say that I wanted this guy to be an elf and that ear was not pointy enough. So I can go in with the blue and then just see where the change was in the mistake or the error and make sure to make note of it. This is going to sound really redundant and really like silly, but doing that, just taking notes of your mistakes, or even drawing yourself getting frustrated so you can like practice like even more. You can draw yourself having fun with your bad sketches, and that way you take away that pressure of feeling like everything has to be perfect. When you start having fun and getting comfortable and understanding that your mistakes can actually help you proceed, then you're going to see your sketchbook in a very different way. You're not going to see this as a thing you just have to fill or something that you have to have like with absolute perfect pictures. That is probably the last thing you want to do with your sketchbook. If you want to have a sketchbook full of pretty drawings, honestly, just get a photo book or a portfolio and then just put really nice pieces in that. Like, this is something that should be used to put all the thoughts that you don't get to put on your finished pieces. This is where you get to try new things and you get to experiment with, trying somebody else's style without any like judgment, because this is just for learning. This is for your tool. This is for your mental library. And the mental library is absolutely necessary to be able to grow as an artist. So if you guys aren't familiar with the concept of a mental library, let me see if I can just make a quick drawing explaining it. So let's say that when we are babies, baby, yay, baby, no baby. When we're babies, our mental library, when it comes down to anything that we're doing, is minimal. Look right there. Doesn't go far. When you get older, let's say you're like a 5, 6-year-old, have your hair. 5, 6-year-old, you draw in kindergarten, you draw in, preschool, your mental library is a little bit bigger because, you've drawn a tree, you've kind of drawn like dinosaurs or whatever you want. Then you come to the age where people start getting a little bit more interested into the arts. Teenager, early adults, right? And these are people that are deciding that they want to do it for a living and they're barely starting into it. These are the people that are starting to draw more detailed things. They're starting to learn how to do shading, perspective, and all those things. Or the people that are just learning how to use the materials, and learning how to get into art. That mental library is considerably larger because you start focusing on everything around you, and then you actually start focusing on it being artwork instead of just being something that you draw. The next level is when you start being a professional at it. Let's strip that out. Let's put it over. So let's say this is going to be somebody that's already in the industry, somebody that's been working on it for, a couple years. Boom, boom, boom. This person has drawn a ton of time, and thanks to that exponential amount of time that you spend drawing and working on new things for new projects and get challenged so much, your mental library goes to the roof. That shoots incredibly high very, very quickly. So when you start off late in life, let's say that you started at this stage with a mental library of nothing, doesn't matter, because that exponential growth only really happens when you achieve a mental state that's going to allow you to see things in a more advanced way. So if you can't understand the basic fundamentals of artwork, you can get pretty far, but it normally doesn't exceed a certain gap. You always hit a wall. If you just focus too much on stylization, you stop understanding how things work after a certain amount. If you understand how everything works, that growth just never stops. Because then once you understand the foundations of anatomy and perspective and, weight and depth and all those little things that come along with just learning how to draw, that is when you can actually start being really proud of yourself, and then you can proceed from there. But let's see. Another good practice for sketchbooks is something along the lines of this. I don't know. I just have some right here, actually. So what I like to do is I like to use them as journals. anytime that I have a really like interesting idea or something that I really want to do, I just write down the concept and I try to just put it on paper as quickly as possible because otherwise I forget it. And there's a bunch of ideas that I wish that I would have written that, like just don't come. Like this new eye method that I've been working on. Um, if I didn't have a sketchbook with me when I saw somebody with really deep eye sockets, I never would have been able to like see things like that. So it helped a lot having my sketchbook with me, being able to bust it out and then trying different things with it immediately. Same thing with a lot of body parts. Like whenever I try to like something different, I bust out my sketchbook and I try to like draw that and I try to break it. I There's a bunch of ugly drawings. It bothers me nothing. It does not at all bother me at all that I have ugly drawings. To me, all these are just practice, 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 practice for that when I actually have really cool commissions or something that I really want to make really, really, really cool. I'm prepared for it and I can just draw it very easily. Uh, doesn't have to be the same medium for everything either. Whatever you feel like. I like carrying a big pouch full of like sketchbook stuff. Just a bunch. All my highlighters. I've tried these Miniso washable watercolors. And these are the ones that are giving these fantastic, just perfect blues and yellows. And they have them in a bunch of colors whenever you go to the Miniso store. And they're normally on sale for like $1. So, and they last a while. So these are awesome. Uh, I've come to love these highlighters. They are peach and like pink. Um, and then you can actually get some really nice skin tones. Like I would almost compare them to a very low key Coke, and they're like $1 or like $1.50. So I like something to highlight, and I like my paint pens. And overall, these are the tools that I've worked with for years. Like these are some old sketchbooks. Let me see if I have a tone paper one. That one's recent. Here's one. So if you can see that most of the drawings that I did for a very long time were mostly just highlighter and pen. And a little bit of white Pentel pens if I was drawing on like these guys, because all of you are gonna ask me anyways. Let's see. There you go. Uniball Signo. Oh, it's upside down. Uniball Signos. Those are really, really good. So if you were gonna have tan paper, you can do the same thing. Take it everywhere you go. Draw things that you find interesting. Try to grab the concept quickly. And if you really, really like it, you can always take a picture of it. See, I constantly tell myself. And that's honestly like all it takes is a lot of time, a lot of patience with yourself, because we are all like our own worst critics. And it's horrible when, like you just get like that feeling inside that it's like, blah. Oh, art wars. I'll have to bring that up at some point again. A lot of people enjoyed these. And as you can see as well, I use these type of sketchbooks and sketches just to fill my social media and to be able to provide content for everybody. This is an example of an art war that I had with somebody. This just back and forth drawing battles between people with two characters that kill each other. Interrupted by anatomy sketches. And then it just fueled like a bunch of different things. I like to post motivational messages for people, which I still find, and then, like there's a bunch of notes. Work on hands, work on feet. A little extra part of the art war. Even more. And all this is just highlighter and pen. Just really, really quick sketches and just trying to play around. Like I didn't know if that would look good or smudge it completely, but it looked pretty good. So that was a really interesting thing. Then I started just drawing the cleanup crew from the bats, from the battles. Um, just telling a little bit more of my life with it. And I really, really enjoy doing that as well with the little ones. I use the big ones for learning. I like the big ones to capture really big ideas, something that I like had in my head for a while. And the little ones just for quick, just random doodles that or ideas that come to my head, or just as a fun way to fill my social media with a bunch of really cool drawings for people to enjoy. All right, so I would love for you to all uh, ask some questions, and maybe I can answer some stuff for you guys. So let's see. Seeing sketchbooks is always inspiring. I like doing that too. Funny, corns, flag. I erase a lot when I draw. That's the reason that I stopped using pencil. I was doing that way too much. And yeah, my drawings would come out a little bit better, but it was just so messy, and the process was just like I would always end up with like smudges. And I still do, but it's not as much. Let's see. Man, I wish I could see all those sketches I did years ago, but in my country was and I still really hard to find a good quality sketchbooks. That is very unfortunate, but there are some good options, and there's also the ability for you to make your own sketchbooks if you learn how to bookbind. And in the long run, if you really enjoy, like the craft of actually sketchbooking, then it's something that you might want to really look into. Jaren Hayes, what happened to your old sketchbook tours? They are no longer up, only a couple of them. I took them down so I could edit them because they weren't getting the visibility that I wanted. So I just never really got the time to upload them again. It just takes a long time to edit everything, and I don't have like a studio or anybody helping, so I have to set priorities for my stuff, and that was kind of low on the priority list. But I'll be able to like put them up there at some point again. Number two is not hard to do. It's not. Brittany Edwards, don't rip out pages, but I do paint over them. Hey, no, I mean, that's great. You're still correcting your mistakes. Shiba, I chicken scratch it or rip it out of my book. Don't do that. Joe Craig, hey, Rodgon, how good are you at foreshortening? Are you going to make the stream about it in the future? I think I'm going to make a quick stream about like the super basics of anatomy, just so that I could have that video on my stream or on my channel, because I don't think I've ever actually made a pure anatomy video, and I think it is something that I should probably do because it's something that just helps everybody. So I think I might. Greetings from Mexico, Miguel. ¿Qué pasó? I envy how decisive your line work is. Well, it wasn't always like that. Like, not at all. I'm going to try to find, like, here it is. Here's the very first mini sketchbook that I did. And it's pretty, like, compared to the stuff that I had before, it's pretty messy. And actually, this one's not the mini one. This is not the first one, so never mind. I'm looking at it, I'm like, that actually looks pretty clean. Hold on. That's not it. No, I'll have to find another one. They're somewhere around here. Let's see. Hold on. All right, this is the third one that I ever did. So this was more the line work that I had back then. Very like scratchy, very messy. I didn't really know how to cross hatch or like how to like make things very, very decisively. It was a lot more rough, and it took a lot longer than the ones that I do now. And the ones that I do now are incredibly more intricate, and it's just mastering just mastering the pen and the procedure that I liked. But, looking back, I mean, it wasn't all that bad. It was just, I've just gotten a lot better, and I look at the mistakes that I did back then, and I wish that I could go back and tell myself that. And actually, I think I might at some point, because I think I still make some of the mistakes that I see right now, and it's something that I haven't addressed. So that's probably something that I'll do in the future. Let's see. Do you need to... Going back, the sketchbook is a mess book. The portfolio is the Galileo. Yeah, exactly. Julio, yo, Mr. Tony P, love this philosophy. Well, I mean, it's just the way that I have always tried to tell people to look at their sketchbooks whenever they feel shy, whenever they feel like they're not doing something right, they don't want to show their work to anybody. That's tough because I think you shouldn't hide what you're doing, even if it's bad, even if it doesn't come out looking exactly how you want it. Just draw. The more you draw, the more you're gonna get better. If you start breaking things down in a way that you would try to teach someone else, you'll start understanding how things work much quicker, and you'll see a much more accelerated growth in your sketching and your artwork because you're being critical of yourself, but at the same time, you're not hindering yourself by not allowing other people to see your art or not sharing your work. That's just blocking your own progress, and you shouldn't do that. I'm here, better late than never. Hey, welcome aboard. Siam Saimi, friend, and I did your art battle with each other, and it was really fun. That was awesome. When everybody was doing art battles, that was fantastic. Mary Spell Streep, do you tend to have different sketchbooks for different themes, like the one anatomy, another one for perspective, etc.? Just curious. Okay, so I didn't used to do that. I honestly didn't, up until this year. And then this year I decided that I was going to just try to focus a little bit differently. So I decided to get a big Danique sketchbook. Boo-boo, Danique. And I got these guys at Target, and they sell them at Target. They sell them online, and you can put your own artwork on them too, which is really cool. But I got this one, and I got this one. I got this one about a year ago at a Michael's, which is an art store here in the United States. And it was on sale, and I never really looked at these sketchbooks before. But I was thoroughly amazed at how fun and how awesome it was to draw on them. And when I just gave myself a single theme, and the theme was women for this one, I got so much better, so much quicker. And I learned a ton about composition, a ton about anatomy, and a ton about just drawing the female figure. And this pinup book will be on sale alongside a bunch of my digital ones and a bunch of information and knowledge that is going to be shared with everybody. And it'll be my very first book that I publish that will be more than just a sketchbook. That's going to be more so like a mythology of how to actually learn how to draw women effectively, quickly, and in your known, in a good organic way, without having to just copy other people's stuff. So I am incredibly excited to share all the stuff that I've done. It's like 100-page sketchbook, and I'm almost done with it. So once that happens, you guys will have something really cool to see. And honestly, everybody, let's recap the things. Let's look back at the rules that we set for each other. And let's add one last rule. Let's find it. So, we do not leave our sketchbooks at home. Number 2, we do not rip pages out of our sketchbooks. Number 3, We will learn new things with our sketchbooks. Number 4. You guys ready for this one? Fill them up. Just go from start to finish and fill them up. The satisfaction you get from that, the satisfaction you get and the little endorphins you get from just finishing a sketch, like they're just amazing. You just get so happy, you get so proud of yourself, and at the end of the day, that's gonna make you wanna do it even more. Yay! Throwing it in the air. Done. Boom, boom. Boom, boom, boom. I know that I do. Every single time I finish a sketchbook, I celebrate by drawing myself cheering. And it is one of the most satisfying feelings in the world. Knowing that you finished something that you started and it's full of just your thoughts, your ideas, your concepts, or your training to become a better artist. That alone is fantastic. That alone should bring you so much joy that you would not want to ever not want to fill one up. I look back at my younger self, and I used to buy sketchbooks at a ridiculous pace. And I would normally try to fill them, but I would just get discouraged halfway through, and then I saw something else that was cool, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna start drawing on that, and then I just never touched it again. And I feel bad because I think if I would have done that, I would have been able to trace back my growth a lot more than I do now, and I would have been able to understand when I learned new concepts and when I didn't. So I suggest that rule number 4 is draw till it's done. If it's falling apart, glue that mother back together. Put some tape on that. Hey, be proud of that. You beat it up and you made it fall apart with all your ideas and your creativity. That's on you. That's awesome. And honestly, other than just recapping that stuff, I do really appreciate to everybody that tuned in tonight. Like I said, I'll leave a little bit of a discount code, and I'm pretty sure you guys will enjoy these sketchbooks. Yeah, and I get a little bit back every time that you guys do. So if you ever wanted to support me and you want to get a really cool book, hey, order them from them. Shop.danique.com. All right, everybody. Thank you so much. I hope that you all had a wonderful time drawing with me. Well, we didn't really draw much, but we learned a lot. So I think that's a win at the end. If you would be so inclined to like and subscribe, if you enjoyed the stream, share it with your friends and family. Anybody that likes drawing would probably benefit from knowing a little bit of the information that I give out. And I hope that you all have a fantastic night. Thank you all for the support, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.